I went to sleep, and Jim didn't call me when it was my turn. He often done that. When I waked up just at daybreak, he was settin' there with his head down betwixt his knees, moaning and mourning to himself. I didn't take notice nor let on. I knowed what it was about. He was thinking about his wife and his children away up yonder, and he was low and homesick, because he hadn't ever been away from home before in his life, and I do believe he cared just as much for his people as white folks does for theirn. It don't seem natural, but I reckon it's so. He was often moaning and mourning that way nights when he judged I was asleep and saying, "Poor little Elizabeth, poor little Johnny, it's mighty hard. I spec I ain't ever gonna see you no more, no more." He was a mighty good nigger, Jim was. But this time, I somehow got to talking to him about his wife and young ones, and by, he says, "What makes me feel so bad this time was because I heard something over yonder on the bank like a whack, a slam, while ago. It remind me of the time I treat my little Elizabeth so ornery. She wasn't only about 4-year-old, and she took the scarlet fever and had a powerful rough spell. But she got well, and one day she was just standing around, and I says to her, I says, 'Shut the door.' She never done it, just stood there, kind of smiling up at me. It makes me mad, and I says again, mighty loud, I says, 'Don't you hear me? Shut the door.' She just stood the same way, kind of smiling up. I was a-bilin'. I says, 'I lay I make you mine.' And with that, I fetch a slap side the head that sent her sprawling. Then I went into the other room, and it's gone about 10 minutes. And when I come back, there was that door a-standing open yet, and that child standing most right in it, a-looking down and moaning, and the tears running down. My, but I was mad. I was a-gwine for the child, but just then, it was the door that opened inwards. Just then, long come the wind, and slam it to behind the child. Kablam! In my life, the child never moved. My breath most hop out of me, and I feel so, I don't know how I feel. I crope out all trembling and crope around and open the door easy and slow and poke my head in behind the child, soft and still. And all of a sudden, I says, "Pow!" just as loud as I could yell. She never budged. Huck, I bust out crying and grab her up in my arms and say, "Oh, the poor little thing. The Lord God Almighty forgive poor old Jim, 'cause he never going to forgive himself as long as he lived. Oh, she's plumb deaf and dumb, Huck. Plumb deaf and dumb. And I've been a-treating her so